Hello everyone, in this video, we're gonna do some troubleshooting steps on our setups. Some of you have emailed us talking about the problems that they've been encountering with the Arduinos. So we decided to make this video to help everyone troubleshoot their systems. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go through different scenarios or different types of issues that you have reported to us. So let me go to the first scenario. In the first scenario, both motors are not running. Okay? And the motor driver light is not turned on. There's a light here that's supposed to turn on if the battery case is properly attached. So, what you would do first is you should check the wiring of the battery case. It's our usual pulling test wherein you pull the wires and see if they will pull out of the terminals. Okay? So, yan. And also, make sure that the red wire of the battery case is on the leftmost terminal and the black wire coming from the battery case is attached to the middle terminal. Okay? The next, you can check the orientation of the batteries. If you notice, our batteries have a negative and a positive end as indicated by the symbol here, and also the negative end has a flat surface and the positive end has a button. You always attach the flat side of the battery or the negative side to the spring of the battery case like that. Okay. And as you can see, the orientation of the batteries are alternating. For this battery, at least on my case, for this battery, the negative is on this side, as can be seen with the spring. Yan. So, nandiyan yung spring, dyan yung negative. This one has the spring, so that's where you put the negative. So, pag ganyan yan, negative, positive, negative to positive, negative to positive, and negative to positive. Alternating ang kanilang orientation. Yan. And also, another technique, sometimes corrosion builds up on the terminals of the battery or of the battery case. So, it's an old school technique actually. Maybe some of you do it, especially with the remote controls of TVs. Sometimes if it's not working, you turn the cells or you turn the batteries. Okay? That's not a joke. Hindi po joke yan. It really does something because when you turn it, the button or the contacts here and here rub against each other, hopefully removing the corrosion or rubbing off the corrosion. So, ayan, may silbi talaga yan, yung pagta-turn ng mga ganyan. So, turn it a couple of times just to scratch off or rub off any corrosion that built up over time. Okay? And next, sorry, I'll zoom in again. I'm not sure if you can see it properly. Check if there are ano yan? Stray wire strands. Okay? Check nyo kung may mga strands going from, tanggalin ko muna. Going from one side to another or from one terminal to another. In this case, as you can see, the strands are a bit loose and one strand is actually about to touch the other terminal. So just make sure that no strands are touching the other terminals and that they're snug inside the terminal. Okay? So, na-clear ko na siya. I can put back the battery. Okay, and lastly, I don't know why. I've been explaining this many times during class. I don't know why some of your batteries have already been drained. Okay? As I mentioned in my announcements in Google Classroom and in some of my emails, I've had this set of batteries for more than a year now. I've been using them for my Arduino projects or my Arduino experiments, and they're still going strong despite their age. So I'm really not sure what's happening to some of your batteries or what happened to some of your batteries. So maybe you have some other devices or gadgets at home that you can swap out the batteries in the meantime just to check if that will solve your problems. Okay? So let's see if it will light up. And I'm not sure if you can see the light, but it's already turned on. Okay, so that's the one scenario. Both motors are not running and the light on the motor driver is not turned on. So the next scenario is where both motors are still not running and the light on the motor driver is on. If the light on the motor driver, ganyan, naka-on yung light, it means that your connection between the battery case to the Arduino is okay. So let's not touch these wires anymore. First, check if your Arduino lights are on. Okay, in my case, wala siyang ilaw. It means that the Arduino is not running. Okay, bakit kaya siya hindi tumatakbo? Kasi hindi ko na-plug yung USB. Okay, so if I plug in the USB and all the wirings are okay, both motors should turn. Yun. So check niyo muna kung umiilaw siya. So kung umiilaw naman lahat, means that your Arduino is working. Then let's go to the next number. Check if your jumpers are attached to the correct pins. Basta ang sequence nito, dun sa driver, the pin on the leftmost part or the jumper on the leftmost part goes to the Arduino. I'll zoom in a bit. Okay, remove the battery first. Okay, I hope you can see. So this leftmost or enable A goes to pin number 6 here on the Arduino. Make sure na sa number 6 ha. Baka medyo at an angle nyo tinitingnan. So number 6 may not be aligned here. Just make sure that you're properly aligning the numbers to the pins. Okay. So yung leftmost on the driver is on the rightmost here or the number 6 here. Sunod-sunod lang yan. This one from left to right, this one from right to left. Then pin 11 on the Arduino should correspond to enable B on the motor driver. Okay? And also, don't forget yung ground pin or the ground jumper connected to the middle of the motor driver should be connected to any ground pin on the Arduino. So it can be the second to the last or the third to the last here. Ayan. Tingnan nyo naman, it's labeled ground or GND. Yan. Then, as we did earlier, check the batteries. Same steps. Check the orientation if it's correct. Then, maybe swap it out with a fresh set of batteries if you have a fresh set at home. Then, in case ayaw pa rin, maybe you have to re-upload the code to the Arduino. It's possible that when you uploaded the first time, you really did not upload it, or you thought you uploaded it pero hindi pala, or maybe you uploaded the wrong code or something. Maybe you can re-download the code from the Google Classroom link that I sent, then upload it to the Arduino. Okay. Then, replace the ground jumper if necessary. Okay, baka sira yung jumper na to. Ito muna yung tanggalin nyo. Okay, some of you guys are having problems attaching the pin here together with the wire. Okay, I've shown a few techniques. One technique I've shown is by wrapping the loose wire around the pin of the jumper like that before inserting it. Okay. However, some of you are still having challenges doing that technique. So another thing you can do is actually by stripping off the end of this one. Okay. Okay, so this is the ground jumper or the jumper that's connected to the ground. Marami naman tayong extra dyan. So you can just cut off one end with whatever tool you prefer. Then you strip some insulation off of it. Okay. And you twist it a bit. Then you twist the black wire of the battery case together with this wire. Okay, I haven't shown this to you guys yet, but this is another technique you can do to make sure that the ground pin or the jumper connected to the ground doesn't pull out anymore. Okay, so you attach that here. Okay, make sure it's tight. Then you attach the other end to one of the ground pins on the Arduino. Yan. Okay. If upon doing that, it still doesn't work, it's time. Teka, tanggalin ko lang to baka dumikit. Okay. If upon doing that, your setup still doesn't work, try to replace the jumpers one by one. Okay? You can do it by, kunwari, start with pin number 11 or jumper, jumper 11 connected to, jumper, take 2. You can start with the jumper that's connected to pin 11. So what you can do is you can start replacing the jumpers one by one. Maybe you can start with pin number 11 or the jumper connected to pin number 11. Okay, remove that. Remove that from the motor driver. Then replace it with another one. And see if it will work. Okay, after every cable, try nyo kung gumagana. Ha, hindi gumagana. Okay, I saw the problem. In my case, nabunot yung aking motor connector. Okay. So yan pa palang mga isang kailangan nyo check. Not just the battery case, but the motor connections as well. Okay, I'm doing the pull test. Hindi na siya nabubunot. So I'll start it. I'll check. Okay, both motors are working. Ngayon, kunwari, nag-replace na kayo ng one jumper and it's still not working. Try replacing the next one. and so on and so forth. I'm suggesting that you do it one by one because once you replace, ano yun, kasi kung sabay-sabay kayo magtanggal, baka malito kayo or baka hindi naman talagang kailangan palitan lahat. So, do it one by one. Kung maayos na, then, you don't have to replace the others. So, yan, that's the second scenario. For the third scenario, both motors are still not running, but the motors are making a buzzing sound. Parang zzz, gumaganon siya. And some of you describe it as, it seems that they want to turn, but they can't turn, which is a very accurate description because that's really what's happening. So, bakit nangyayari yun? Kasi kinukulang ng voltage yung mga motors. So, I can think of two reasons at this point, but I'm still investigating because I've been trying to replicate that same problem at home using variable voltage supplies or power supplies or variable voltage power supplies. So I'm still investigating this, but for now, here's what we can do. Again, similar to what we did earlier, we can check the terminals for any stray wire strands. Make sure lang na walang stray strands and that your wires are securely fastened. Then, just like I said earlier, try replacing with another set of batteries. Maybe that will help. But again, I'm still doing some investigation on this problem. If I come up with a clear answer or a clear solution to this problem, I'll let you guys know. Okay, so next, on to the next scenario. What if only one motor is running correctly? Okay, iba-ibang klaseng definition ng correctly yan. Is the defective motor not turning at all? Meaning only one motor is turning? Okay, dadayain ko lang. I'll pull out one jumper. For example, in this case, one motor is turning both directions, pero the other motor is not turning at all. So again, ang gumagana dito is the left motor. There's a problem with the right motor. So let's focus on the connections of the right motor. First, let's check the terminal of the right motor if it's securely fastened. Then let's check the wires for the left or the right motor. Okay? So, pwede natin gawin, replace them one by one. Ang tinanggal ko kanina dito is enable B. Pwede natin tanggalin yan, ganyan. Then replace with another one. And do it one at a time. Pero focus on the right motor lang. Kasi alam natin gumagana yung left motor. Huwag na natin siyang pakialaman. Let's try mo isa-isa. An old school technique nga rin pala na I forgot to talk about is for example, ganyan. Hindi gumagana yung right motor. Baka kailangang i-wiggle nyo lang yung mga pins for them to turn or for them to run. Kasi itong mga pins natin or yung mga jumpers natin, naka-crimp lang yung naka-crimp lang yung pin to the wire. Parang for example, if this is the wire, there's just some very small crimping thing holding onto the wire inside that connector. So, pag lumuwag to or nabunot to, baka nawawala na agad ng connection. So, sometimes simply wiggling that plastic thing will make the wire and the pin contact each other. So, try it lang. Tingnan nyo lang kung mag-work. Yan. Tapos, yun. Just concentrate on the non-working motor para hindi kayo mahirapan trying to replace all the jumpers. Okay, so in the next scenario, okay, still only one motor is running correctly. Yung kunwari, yung right motor na naman yung problema. But this time, half of the time lang siya umaandar. Like in this scenario. Okay, it's turning now and then it stopped. Pero pag baliktad yung direction, ayaw na niyang umikot. If that happens, ang magko-concentrate kayo dun sa mga yung mga jumpers na nakakonect sa in pins ng right motor. So that's the jumper connected to in 3 and the jumper connected to in 4. Which in this case, well, sa case ng ating code, sila yung mga naka-assign sa pin 10 and 11 ng Arduino. So it is this wire. Una, i-check nyo kung nasa tamang pin sila, tamang pin sa Arduino and sa motor driver. Then also, kung ayaw pa rin, try replacing. One at a time. Again, mag-focus na lang kayo dun sa in pins nung non-working or nung half of the time na working motor. Huwag nyo na palitan lahat kasi gumagana na yung other side eh. Then, don't remove the enable pin na rin kasi umiikot siya half of the time eh. It means that the enable pin is actually working. Okay. Okay, so on to the next scenario. Motors are running alternately, one at a time. Okay, I'll replicate that scenario. This only turns in one direction and this only turns in one direction, but not at the same time. You're just alternating. Okay, if that happens, focus on one motor first. Unahin natin yung left motor. So sa left motor, ang mga in pins niya are in 1 and in 2. Sila yung nakakabit sa 7 and 8 respectively. So yun ang una natin papalitan. Try replacing them with other cables. Then see if that will solve the problem. One motor at a time. So focus muna tayo dun sa pins assigned to that motor. Okay, check natin. Okay, so naayos ko na yung left motor. It's now turning in both directions. However, yung right motor is just turning in one direction. So pagka nagawa mo na yun, it means that the jumpers assigned to the left motor are already working. Time to move on to the jumpers assigned to the right motor. So sila yung mga nakakabit sa in 3, in 4, and enable B. So ito yung mga nandito sa leftmost ng Arduino. Okay, so try pa rin natin yan. Okay, so with those, I hope I was able to cover all the scenarios that you've been encountering. So I hope this video helps you guys troubleshoot your systems, and I hope that we can all finish this so we can move on to the next topic next week. Again, thank you so much.